Hi, I'm Kristen Coling. This is Stephanie Knoll. We work here at Ozark Action, and we would like to talk to you about some things regarding the Affordable Care Act and the marketplace and how all of that works. Today, we are going to be talking about providers, primary care providers, and emergency department, and what the difference is and what makes you available to go to each. So Steph, if you were going to go to a primary care provider, what qualifies for that kind of appointment? Like, what would you need to be?
If you're sick, you're feeling under the weather, you would go to a primary care provider. If you break an arm, you probably need to go to the emergency room. That's not something you would go to your primary care provider. So pretty much any kind of like physical, or if you're sick, that's when you would go
To the primary care provider.
to the primary care provider.
Good deal. What do I need to know before I go to the primary care provider? And then also, what do I need to bring with me? What would you suggest in that kind of situation?
Well, a big thing is you need to make sure that you call ahead and make an appointment. So
Right.
you call ahead, make an appointment, make sure that they're in your network because you don't want to pay extra.
That's right.
And then you need your driver's license. It's always good to have that on hand, and your health insurance card. If you haven't gotten your health insurance card, you can always get a temporary one through their website. So those are the things you definitely need to bring. Make sure you're there about 15 minutes beforehand, just in case you need to fill out paperwork.
And is that usually something that you're going to have to do at most primary care providers when you initially go? Fill out a bunch of paperwork?
Yep, so you need to make sure you know background. You know, does your family have a history of something? Is there something from your childhood? Did you have any illnesses in your childhood or any ailments right now that you need to talk to the doctor about?
Right, great. And we have a lot of great ones here in West Plains, so that's really good news. Also, what about, I've heard about some of these clinics that, what if I'm trying to get on insurance but I don't have it yet, but I've got an ailment and I feel like I need to see a doctor, what should I do?
Well, there's a particular place that you can go here in West Plains, and that's Southern Missouri Community Health Clinic. And with them, it's on a sliding scale. So you just have to go in, fill out the paperwork, and then see how much you're going to pay.
And they normally run on appointments too, right?
Yes, you need to make sure, regardless of if someone does for sure run on appointments, you need to give them a call and make sure.
Okay, and do they do dental too?
They do dental, but that is for you. So just to keep that in mind.
Okay, great. So if I've got a kid and we're having issues with their dental program, I can take them over there if I fall under the income guidelines.
Yes, them, and then West Plains Christian Clinic, you can go there as well.
Awesome. Okay. So let's say I feel like I need to go to the emergency room because it's late at night and I have something going on, but I know my regular doctor's not open. Should I still be going to the emergency room, or is there an alternate way that I can get this taken care of?
Well, I always suggest that if you're going to go to the emergency room, it's for an emergency, because it's going to be a lot more expensive to go into the emergency room. If you can hold out to the morning, you might be able to get into an urgent care before your provider, but you definitely need to look at an emergency room as an emergency.
Great. Okay, so would you just expand on that a little bit, explain emergency rooms and kind of what they do and all that, and how that affects your co-payments and your deductibles and what that looks like?
Okay, well, when you go into the emergency room, obviously you're not going to set up an appointment. It's an emergency.
Right.
They're not going to decline you. So if you don't have health insurance, they're not going to send you away.
Okay.
So when you go in there, it's still good to have your health insurance documentation. I mean, sometimes we just can't help it, and things happen, but to have that stuff is really going to help. Another thing is you're probably going to wait for several hours because there's different people and different situations in there. So unlike, your provider that you have an appointment, you're going to go in there in an emergency situation and maybe waiting for several hours. So it's definitely good to know, how much you're going to end up paying as well. When you go in, your insurance card actually will say how much you're going to pay, so what your copay is going to be.
Okay.
And it ranges per each plan.
Great. Well, that's good news to know. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully we've explained this a little bit better. Just to recap, a primary care doctor is strictly for sicknesses like the flu, unless you're dying, and then maybe go to the emergency room. But usually, that's what the primary care doctor is for. And the emergency room is if Timmy was jumping on, the trampoline and fell off and broke his arm. That's why we would take him to the emergency room.
Exactly.
By covering it.